Okay, hello and welcome. This is Travis McEwen, and I am going to be doing a quick little video here to go over your first kind of research paper for our course-long project in CIS 406 Supply Chain for Whatcom Community College. So, a couple things to kind of go over. What this project is again, you are going to be creating your own fictional company from the ground up that exists somewhere in the supply chain. So, whether you're a raw material supplier, part of a manufacturing plant, a distribution center, or you're part of the actual retailer that is selling something, you are kind of picking what your company is and determining where you exist in the supply chain. And given that, you're going to be identifying some different key components of this and basically trying to figure out what you need and where you exist in that kind of supply chain section and what you need to do in order to make your company successful and what are some of those challenges. So in this given area, you're responsible for creating a medium-sized company, um, and you're starting to kind of develop, an idea of what your organization is going to require. So components of what you need to do for your proposal is you need to identify what industry your company is in. You need to determine the size of your organization, and this will kind of impact some aspects of what you're going to be doing in your project and down the line, but not really. So don't worry too much on this aspect. But your company size should be roughly anywhere from 50 to say like 250 people. That's roughly in the given margins of a mid-sized organization, small to mid-size. Um, you're going to need to identify the different departments that exist in your organization. So, say like HR, marketing department, R&D department, what have you, and then how many people are kind of in each, and then what the roles are in each of those departments as well. You're also going to need to identify who your suppliers are. So if you're, say, part of the manufacturing plant side of things, where are you going to be procuring your raw goods? And then how are you going to actually be doing procuring them? So in this case, you're going to have to start thinking that um, you're going to have to actually do some general research to figure out, okay, well, can I buy my raw goods from, somewhere local in Bellingham? Or am I going to have to actually ship these raw goods from a long way away in order to actually get what I need? You're gonna have to think about who your clients and customers are as well. So if you're, again, this all is going to be very much dependent on where your company is in the supply chain section. You're going to have to identify who might be some of your primary competitors. So you can select real world companies that might be competitors in your given market. And then we're also going to identify threats of new entries or new entrants into your specific chosen industry. So if you're kind of confused and you're like, oh, I'm not still not sure exactly what to do, um, a couple things to kind of look at really quickly is remember here is kind of our supply chain and what we're kind of thinking of as our primary supply chain. So our supply chain is determined into multiple different categories. We have our raw goods suppliers, we have our manufacturing plants, so where things are starting to be um, our raw materials are starting to become specific components, or actually to completed components. Our distribution center, so basically a warehouse or manufacturing plant in this case, sorry. Um, and then we have our distribution centers down here, which is where things are warehouses, where things are going to be shipped out of. So think like Amazon warehouses. And then we have our retailers and then our consumers, so people who are actually purchasing the goods, and then retailers who are putting the goods in a place that is readily accessible for customers and consumers. So in this case, you need to identify where in the supply chain you want your company to exist, and then go from there. So a couple project ideas and examples. These are some things that people have done in the past. So automotive manufacturers, delivery service company, coffee shop, bakeries, music shops, lumber and logging, third-party logistics providers, internet service provider, and then an oil refinery energy company. And there have been a number of other options as well. So to give you a better idea of kind of what I'm looking for in terms of the kind of what the paper might look like. Um, so this is an example of someone who did a oil refinery business proposal. Um, they created a nice table of contents, um, and basically outlined everything that I had already listed. So their executive summary, current industry problems, proposal, sectors within the oil refinery company, and then continued to kind of break it down from there. Essentially, again, taking everything that I asked and just breaking it down into different categories and sections as they kind of went through it. Um, so they had their short executive summary. It doesn't have to be long. Current industry problems that they might face, general proposal, the different sectors within the oil refinery, hierarchical structure. So this is their size of the company, and then they provided an org chart that they created, determined who their suppliers and distributors are, and then who their clientele are, who their competition might be, and then identified unknown threats and adversaries as well, and then had a bibliography at the very tail end. So it doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be a big long paper. Roughly about 5 pages, give or take. Um, so hopefully this gives you at least a general idea of what I'm kind of looking for, and helps kind of push you in the right direction. So if you do have questions on things, please feel free to reach out at any point in time. I'm happy to help out. All right, thanks. Bye.